During a pandemic, people of color are the most susceptible for many reasons, including poverty and lack of access to quality health care. New York, which is approximately 24% Black and 29% Latino, is being hit the hardest with COVID-19. Preliminary data from the New York City Department of Health shows that 33% of COVID-19 cases resulting in death have been Black, while Latinos account for 28% of COVID-related fatalities. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, acknowledged health inequalities in low-income, predominantly Black and brown communities.
Health disparities have always existed for the African American community. But here again, with the crisis, how it's shining a bright light on how unacceptable that is. Because yet again, when you have a situation like the coronavirus, they are suffering disproportionately.
Not only do people of color have to worry about health disparities during a pandemic, but implicit biases as well. A recent video documents a police officer following two Black men in an Illinois Walmart for wearing protective masks.
He just followed us from outside, told us that we cannot wear masks. There's a presidential order, there's a state order, and he's following us right now to the store. We're being asked to leave for being safe.
Vincent Sutherland served as an attorney for the Bronx Defenders and is now executive director for the Center on Race, Inequality, and the Law at NYU. Sutherland says that implicit biases are not new, but times of crisis can heighten already ingrained biases.
This pandemic or any disaster really does not erase the threat that people view your skin color as posing to the rest of the world. And I think that threat and the fear that kind of accompanies it have been ingrained in all of our minds, in our collective consciousness since this nation's founding.
In a press briefing, Governor Cuomo required all New York State residents to wear mouth and nose coverings while in public.
I'm going to issue an executive order that says all people in public must have a mask or nose covering, mouth and nose covering.
Many supermarkets and shops have begun implementing the mandate and denying entry to people without face coverings. But what does this mean for communities of color?
We have always kind of tied race to criminality and dangerousness in this country. There's almost a presumption of criminality that attaches to your skin color. And wearing a bandana, wearing a mask, or things like that kind of activate all the types of stereotypes that go along with that presumption of criminality that already is attached to your skin.
And what if you are stopped by police?
You should do everything you can to try and de-escalate the situation, to try and speak calmly to the officer, to try and demonstrate that you are not going to try and pose a threat to them in any way. But I don't want to sugarcoat it and make it seem like if you just behave nicely, that police officers are going to leave you alone. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I am saying is that it's great to invoke your rights, but on the street and in the moment, a court of law is not going to save you. You want to be sure that you survive the situation so that you can hold them accountable afterwards.
Now, Mr. Sutherland says if you do have an encounter with a law enforcement officer over lack of PPE and you believe that encounter was unjust, you can always reach out to the agencies below. Reporting for Bronxnet, Dorissa White.